I still remember the exact moment my phone lit up with that message. The screen glowed coldly in the dark room, and those words hit me like a punch to the stomach. "Don't call us, don't visit, you're cut off." And right underneath, my own sister Rachel had tapped the heart button. She liked it. My big sister liked the message that erased me from our family. My name is Anna, and this is the story of how my own blood threw me away like I was nothing. And how I found the strength to reply in a way that changed everything. If you've ever been betrayed by the people who were supposed to love you most, stay with me. This one hurts, but it also heals. I grew up in a modest but lively house on the outskirts of the city. It was the kind of home where Sunday dinners were loud with laughter and stories, or at least that's how I remember the early years. My mom passed away from cancer when I was only 12, and after that, everything shifted. Dad became the center of our world. He ran a small construction company, working long hours under the sun, coming home exhausted with dust still on his boots. My older sister Rachel was 17 then, already beautiful and bold, the one who could make Dad smile even on his worst days. Our little brother Tyler was just 8, quiet and always hiding behind me. I became the glue. At 13, I was already cooking simple meals, helping with laundry, and making sure Tyler got to school on time. Rachel would stay out late with friends, and I'd cover for her. Dad would vent about work stress, and I'd sit there listening for hours, nodding like I understood. I never complained. I thought that was what love looked like, putting everyone else first and hoping one day they'd see me. As we got older, the pattern only grew stronger. Rachel went to college, partied hard, changed majors twice, and still managed to stay Dad's favorite. She'd come home with stories of wild nights, and Dad would laugh and call her his firecracker. Tyler was the baby, protected and spoiled. And me? I was reliable Anna, the one who worked part-time jobs through high school to help with bills, the one who gave up her dream of studying abroad so I could stay close and support the family. After graduation, I landed a solid job in digital marketing. I was good at it, creative, organized, always meeting deadlines. I started earning well, and instead of saving everything for myself, I helped at home. When Dad's business hit a slow period, I quietly transferred money into his account. 10,000 here, 5,000 there. Over the years, it added up. I told myself it was just what family does. Rachel would call me crying about rent or a bad breakup, and I'd send her what I could. Tyler needed new sports gear or help with tuition, I was there. No questions asked. No thank you needed. Or so I thought. Then I met David. He walked into my life during a work conference, calm, kind, with a gentle smile that made me feel seen for the first time. He wasn't from our tight-knit community. He came from a different background, quiet and stable, a software engineer who loved books and Sunday hikes. When we started dating, I felt alive. For once, someone was taking care of me. Someone listened to my dreams instead of my problems. Telling my family about David was when the first real cracks appeared. Dad's face tightened. "He's not one of us, Anna. Think about your future." Rachel rolled her eyes and said I was being selfish, chasing romance while the family needed me. But for the first time, I didn't back down. I told them I loved him and that I was going to build a life with him. The tension after that conversation was thick. Phone calls became shorter. Visits felt forced. I still tried. I invited them to dinner to meet David. Dad came but barely spoke. Rachel smiled politely but later texted me that he seemed boring. I brushed it off, telling myself they just needed time to adjust. I was planning our small wedding, dreaming of a simple ceremony in the garden with close friends. David and I would sit on the couch late at night, laughing about flower arrangements and honeymoon ideas. Those were happy days, even with the shadow hanging over us, but I should have seen it coming. The way Rachel would make little comments about how I was changing. The way Dad stopped asking about my day. The way Tyler started avoiding eye contact. Something was off, but I kept hoping love would win. Then came that night. David and I were curled up on the couch, laptops open, picking wedding songs. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. It was a group text from Dad. I opened it smiling, thinking maybe it was a peace offering. Instead, the words stared back at me, cold and final. "Anna, you've made your choice clear. Don't call us, don't visit. You're cut off. We don't need someone who turns her back on her own blood." Breath caught. Tears blurred the screen. And then I saw the reaction below it, a bright red heart from Rachel. She liked it. My sister, the one I had defended, protected, and supported my entire life, had liked the message disowning me. I sat there completely frozen. David asked what was wrong, his voice full of concern. I couldn't speak at first. When I finally showed him, he pulled me into his arms while I broke down sobbing. The pain was so sharp, so deep. It felt like my entire childhood, every sacrifice, every late night, every dollar I gave, it all meant nothing. I was disposable. That night I cried until my eyes were swollen. I stared at the ceiling for hours, replaying memories. The time I stayed up all night with Rachel after her first heartbreak. The weekends I spent helping Dad bid on projects. The way I'd hugged Tyler when he was scared after Mom died. How could they throw that away? The silence that followed was deafening. No calls, no explanations, just emptiness. The next few days destroyed me. I moved through work like a ghost. I couldn't eat. Sleep came in short, nightmare-filled bursts. I kept checking my phone, hopping for an apology. Oh, we were too harsh. Anything. Nothing came. Rachel posted happy family pictures on social media, smiling like nothing happened. It felt like a knife twisting deeper. I called Rachel after a week of pain. She finally picked up on the third try. Her voice was flat. "Anna, what do you want me to say? Dad was upset. You chose David over us." "You," I whispered, voice cracking. "Rachel, I've given you money for years. I covered your rent. I was always there. How could you like that message?" She sighed like I was being dramatic. "It's not that deep. You know Dad, he'll cool off." But it was that deep. It was everything. I learned the full truth later, piece by piece. Tyler secretly messaged me one night, saying Rachel had been talking to Dad for months. She told him I was becoming distant, that once I married David, I'd forget the family. She painted me as ungrateful, even though I had been the most giving. She fed his fears. And he listened because she was always his favorite. The betrayal burned. I discovered old bank statements showing Dad had been giving Rachel gifts, designer items, trips, while I quietly paid bills. They had used my loyalty and then discarded me the moment I set a boundary. The sadness slowly turned into something else. A quiet, growing anger. One evening I sat in my car after work, screaming until my throat was raw. How dare they? How dare she stand by and watch me shatter? David held me through every breakdown. He reminded me I was worthy of love without conditions. His steady presence gave me strength, but I knew I needed to do more than just survive this. I needed to rise above it. After almost 2 weeks of silence, I made my decision. I was done being the victim, done fixing things for people who broke me. It was time to reply. That decision changed everything. The weeks that followed the message were some of the darkest I had ever known. I felt invisible, like I had disappeared from my own life story. Mornings were the hardest, waking up to the same heavy feeling in my chest. I would make coffee and just stare out the window, wondering what I did to deserve this. Had I really been so terrible for wanting my own happiness? I replayed our family history endlessly. There was the time after Mom died when I held the house together while Dad fell apart. I was only 12, but I learned to make her special recipes so Tyler wouldn't miss her as much. Rachel was too busy with her teenage life to help. I never resented it then. Now it felt like I had been training my whole life to serve them. At work, I threw myself into projects to escape the pain. My boss noticed my focus and gave me bigger responsibilities. Ironically, the betrayal pushed me to excel. I got a promotion faster than I expected. The extra money helped, but more than that, it reminded me I had value outside my family. Rachel tried one half-hearted call. "Dad misses you," she said, but her tone lacked sincerity. When I asked why she liked the message, she deflected. "You're blowing this out of proportion, Anna. Come on, we're sisters." The word felt hollow. Tyler became my only link. He told me Dad's business was struggling more than usual. Loans were due, and clients were getting restless. Rachel was living her best life on social media, posting about family loyalty while subtly shading me in captions. Every post stung. I blocked them eventually, but the damage was done. The anger had fully settled in now. It wasn't explosive. It was cold and determined. I started documenting everything: old transfers, messages, loan papers I had co-signed without full understanding years ago. I wasn't planning destruction. I was planning freedom. David proposed a weekend getaway to help me heal. We drove to the mountains, and for 2 days I allowed myself to breathe. Sitting by the lake, I told him every detail. He listened without judgment. "You don't owe them your pain anymore," he said. Those words stuck with me. Back home, I made practical moves. I consulted a lawyer quietly about the financial ties. I distanced myself legally where possible. I built a new support circle, friends from work who became like real family. For the first time, I felt seen for who I was, not what I could give. The turning point came when I realized revenge didn't have to be loud. It could be quiet power. I decided it was time to send my reply. I spent days crafting the perfect message, not out of rage, but from a place of clarity. When it was ready, my hands didn't shake. I felt strong. I sent it to the family group chat. Dad, you told me I'm cut off. You said don't call, don't visit. I heard you. Before I honor that completely, I need to say this. For years, I've given over $35,000 to support you and this family. Money from my own hard work. Rachel, while you received gifts and trips, I covered your rent multiple times when you asked. I never asked for thanks. I did it because I loved you, but loving you cost me my voice. When I finally chose my own life and my own happiness with David, you erased me. You liked the message that said I was nothing to you, Rachel. So here is my reply. I am stepping away completely. I've spoken with the bank and removed my name from all co-signed loans and documents. You wanted me gone, now you have it. I wish you well, but I will no longer carry the weight of this family on my shoulders. I forgive you both. Not for you, but for me. I refuse to let your betrayal define my future. This is goodbye. Please respect my silence as I have now respected yours. I turned off notifications and spent the evening with David, feeling lighter than I had in months. The responses flooded in within hours. Dad called repeatedly. I let them go to voicemail. Rachel sent paragraphs. I was emotional. I didn't mean it. We're family, Anna. Please don't do this. Her tone shifted from defensive to desperate when she realized I was serious. Dad's business faced real challenges after I pulled back. Not because I sabotaged him. I never did, but because he lost the silent support I had provided for years. Clients started reaching out to me directly after I began freelancing more aggressively with fresh marketing strategies. One of Dad's longtime clients hired me for a big project. Word spread. Within 6 months, I launched my own small marketing agency. Rachel's social media posts changed. The perfect family narrative cracked. She tried showing up at my old apartment, but I had already moved. Tyler came to our wedding 6 months later. He hugged me tight and whispered that he was proud of me. He still keeps in touch, carefully. David and I got married in a beautiful, intimate ceremony surrounded by people who truly celebrated us. No tension, no judgment, just love. We bought a cozy house with a garden, and I finally planted flowers I had always wanted but never had time for because I was too busy fixing everyone else's life. Looking back now, years later, I see the growth. The pain taught me boundaries. It taught me that real love doesn't demand you abandon yourself. I no longer feel invisible. I feel powerful in my quiet strength. To anyone listening who has been cut off, betrayed, or made to feel worthless by family, please know this. Your worth was never dependent on their approval. The sacrifices you made were not wasted. They shaped you into someone resilient. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's living well. It's building a life so full and peaceful that their silence no longer hurts. It's waking up one day and realizing you're free. I'm Anna, and I'm finally, truly free. Thank you for letting me share my story with you. If it resonated, pass it on to someone who needs hope. Remember, you are enough, always.